Alright, so we're going to jump right into this one. This is some Citadel contrast paint, Gilliman Flesh. I'm going to be using this for the tentacles. The Star Spawn Cthulhu is one of the WizKids miniatures. Also going to be painting up the Summoning Obelisk of Cthulhu from Reaper. The only downside on this one I've found so far, I kind of wish it was disassembled when purchased, because those tentacles are rather difficult to get completely covered on the underside. You'll see me in a couple different shots here coming up, contorting to try and get the underside of these tentacles. Got another color here, Vulpus Pink. It's another contrast color. Just want to add a little bit more, there we go, trying to get in there. Just adding a little bit more color and just doing some blending there. I will be eventually dry brushing some different colors. But yeah, this is actually going to be a gift for a friend of mine who is a lover of all things Cthulhu. So hopefully I can do it some justice. Now I'm taking some contrast medium and thinning down the Vulpus Pink. It's easier to thin down and keep the pigments in place using that rather than water. I found that water just really disperses the pigments on these contrast paints. But just getting in and getting a few spots that were missed. Just adding a little bit more color. Now using another contrast paint, this is Snakebite Leather, just working on the finger portions of the wings. It's not going to be the cleanest paint job on this part right now, but I do go back later on and clean those up. Now this one is actually one of my favorite contrast colors. This is Plague Bear Flesh. And with these contrast paints, I actually put little ball bearings in the bottles because, as you saw, it kind of settles at the bottom. Now this is pre-primed, but with a lot of the pre-primed minis I've had in the past, I like to add my own primer. I mean, nothing against the company. It's just sometimes when I get these pre-primed figures, especially the figures, not the monsters, the detail is really kind of obscured by the primer. So I just go over it with my own. This one I didn't actually strip the primer. I just painted right over it because it still looked pretty good. And since this figure is basically just one color, I just went in with an old sloppy brush and threw paint all over it. Yeah, one of the biggest things with these contrast paints is the opportunity for pooling. Paint can pool in different areas, and when it dries, it has this coffee staining appearance. Now, right over here, I re-primed the area where I had put some Vallejo plastic putty, because after painting it, it seemed to, even though I primed it after I put the putty on there, it seemed to bleed through and gave it like a yellowish look to it. And this one I probably could have put more putty on there, but I missed the opportunity, so. And like I said, I was going to go in there and clean up the finger portions on the wings. But the contrast paints are nice because they'll sink into the recesses for your shading, and then they're thinner on top for with your highlights. But I don't use just contrast by themselves. I'll go in with different colors and do other shading, do some more highlighting. It's not the be-all, end-all. Now this figure was cast in clear plastic and then primed in the areas where you're supposed to paint it. Gives you the opportunity, if you want to, put lights underneath it. I've seen some videos where painters have done that, or you can do different water effects from the underside, which I'll end up doing. What I'm using right now is one of my favorite shades from Citadel. It's Athonian Camo Shade. Really good color. I've used it for years. Like I said, it's probably my favorite shade that they have. Alright, now I'm going to get into doing some dry brushing. This is another Citadel paint, Pink Horror. Just going to get the tentacles a little bit more color. And it's just a dollar store makeup brush that I'm using for that. But I think even now, when I'm dry brushing it, I see a couple of spots of the tentacles on the underside that could have been hit a little bit more. Now this is the Obelisk. I've painted it green. This is Tesseract Glow from Citadel. You'll see that one a little bit later. And using my panel line accent for the little ruins that are carved into it. Now they're not carved in there really deep, so kind of painting it with just a standard paint with a brush. I tried it and didn't care for it, so I figured I'd try out the panel line wash. And I don't know why, I just tried to wipe it off with my finger, but I go back in there and I get them all covered and pull up some excess so it doesn't pool. And then after it dries, I'm just going to take some odorless mineral spirits, some people call them white spirits, and just rub the surface, leaving the runes underneath. Now there are a couple spots where I rubbed a little too much, but I'm going to go in with that oily smoke candy coat from Minotaur that I like using. Just put it all over it, give it like a black snotty look to it. Yep, that's the Tesseract glow right there. And I am painting the underside of the clear plastic. When I decided I wanted to give the water some color, I didn't want to go for like blue or light blue. I wanted to make it look like he was just coming out of some stagnant sewage, summoning goo or water, whatever. I didn't want him looking like he was coming out of a public pool or a jacuzzi. And then the chest area there, that was actually colored with a color called Baylor Brown. I didn't get a chance to actually show that, but that's the color that was. And since the water's dripping off the arms too, I wanted to get some color on that. And then later on I'll take another color and add some brown to the underside with that green. Ogre camo, I was just using this for doing some extra highlights. Shortly after I got done with it, I realized that you could barely see it, so I ended up going with a different color as well. But there's some areas of the fingers there that you can see the paint kind of rubbed off. That does get taken care of later on. And the color that I chose was Nurgling Green. It was a little bit lighter, and you could actually see it as I'm doing some edge highlighting with that. And I'm using the same color to color in those spots on his head. Alright, coming in with another contrast paint. This is Skeleton Horde. It's not as thick as the Snakebite Leather, but it gives a nice addition to that Tesseract glow. It gives it a really like a nice sewagey water type look. And a lot of this is going to be covered up by dry brushing with white, just to get like the peaks of the water as it's splashing down and being violently erupted as he's coming out of it. But I wanted to get some good color in there. Now it's time for the eyes, and not the neatest I've ever done with eyes, because I've got camera in the way, and I've got my light in the way, and I've got one bad eye, so doing the best I can with it. Alright, now we're going to go with adding some color to these tentacles. This is Citadel Colors Xeris Purple. And I actually went in with a brush and cleaned up some of the undersides. And night blue, this is Vallejo game color. Just adding some more, adding a little bit more color there. And then finally coming through with Vallejo model color, Andrea blue. And I'm gonna go with the, just put this right on the tips. And it looks like there's a little bit of pink on the chest there that I hit by accident, but I see that later and I fix it. Okay, now that the tentacles are pretty much done, going in with another contrast paint here. This is going to be Eandon yellow. Not as stark as I thought it was going to be. Again, I didn't use the traditional Wraithbone, Gray Seer, or Corax white as a base for the contrast paints. So I just get that on as a base coat, and then I go in afterwards with a different yellow and just add to it. But if you watch my previous videos, you'll notice that this one's done in a different format, adding music, doing a voiceover instead of the just the real-time recording, just trying something different. I'm thinking if this works out, I'll probably just do all my miniature painting videos like this and keep with the original format for the models. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you like this format compared to what I was doing before. Going back to the snakebite leather for the talons. I debated about painting these black, but I figured, they're part of the fingers anyway, so I might as well just use the same color. Speaking of fingers, and just our straight Vallejo model color white. This is where I add some white to the peaks of the water. And keep it in frame. Yeah, but like I said, this is going to be a gift for a friend. I think I might actually get one for myself. I had a fun time painting this up. Not much I would do differently on my own, and that's all the water falling off of them. And just going with some Army Painter matte black. This is going to be for the edge of the base. This one came with it did come with a black base, but I didn't want to use that, so I just decided to paint the underside, because I didn't put the light in there, but if my friend wants to, yeah, he can. Moving on to the obelisk now. I decided to use make the head of Cthulhu an aged copper, and the last copper paint job I did was on my copper dragon, and I love the way it turned out. So I start that with a brown base coat, and as I'm letting that dry, I'm going to go ahead and I painted up the stones on the bottom. And we're just going to give it a couple shades here. The first one is going to be the ever so popular Nuln oil. It's one of those products that on the Facebook groups, when you spill it, you take a picture of it and put it on the group page, because everybody spills Nuln Oil at least once. I'm going in with another shade called Agrax Earthshade. It's a brownish black. And then towards the end here, I'm putting some gloss coat on it. Normally I don't like to use gloss coat for miniatures because it makes it look like it's a toy that you'd pick up. But I figured since it's coming out of the water, it shouldn't look dry. So I've just got some gloss coat there, get them all nice and shiny. Now for the copper, starting it off with Brass Scorpion, which is odd because it's brass going on to something that's going to be copper, but trust me, it's going to come out looking pretty nice. And I'm not being the neatest with this, or not so clumsy either, so, or actually I'm clumsy. But yeah, the warm metallics go over better when you have a color like brown that you're painting them onto. And your brass, bronze, gold. And there's that ghost tint oil discharge from Minotaur. I don't know why I wanted to do it like this, but I like it. Looks just like a black slime just oozing all over it. And there's a couple spots where I could have probably went a little bit lighter, a couple spots where I could have went darker, but I was having a good time with it. And then it's hammer time. Here's the hammered copper from Vallejo Game Color. Just stippling that onto the right over the Brass Scorpion. Because I want to go with I'm looking for an aged copper look. And a big gob of black paint right there. I think I missed that too, so. Alright, back to the Athonian Camo Shade. This is perfect for aging copper. It gives you that nice verdigris. And then I'll go in after this with the Nailac Oxide for the patina. But yeah, we're getting down to the wire on this one, so do me a favor. If you liked it, give me a like on this. Give me a comment if you'd like to talk about it. Share the video with any of your Cthulhu-loving friends. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because we got, I think by the time I'm done with this one, this will be video number 12. Just getting going with this, and I'm having a great time. So we're just gonna call it an end of this video pretty soon here. You're gonna see the final reveal. I hope you liked it, because I had a blast painting these two. So, but this Nailac Oxide, and yeah, obviously I'm not using a perfectly pointed brush. Just get in there and wipe it away. You're looking for all the recesses, or as many as you want to put, but yeah, I'm liking that. Well, again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you in the next one. And here comes the final reveal. Thanks for watching.